What is going on, guys? Welcome back. It is Institutional here, and we are back with another video, guys. First of all, I want to thank everybody that followed me on Instagram. We hit 40K. It's crazy year that's been as well. On our new motivational Instagram page has hit 3K, which is absolutely mental, right? You guys are, a level of support, and I know you guys are doing it for me. I know that my content for free is helping you guys a lot out. So I hope that I keep delivering and just matching your guys' expectations, right? So the video that we're going to be covering today is going to be understanding a little bit about structure and substructure. It's a concept that smallers don't understand, but I want to go more in detail, majority of the time, so you can kind of spot these kind of formations happening a lot of Mondays and Tuesdays, right? Because we have to understand that Mondays and Tuesdays is when the high of the week or the low of the week is actually formed, right? So what does price tend to do? If you're looking at Mondays, right, Mondays tend to do something like this, and then Tuesdays can also lead up to some highs, and then let's say that'll be the high of the week. You'll see Wednesday and Thursdays kind of continuing with this downside trend. And then Fridays, you'll have a reversal day where all the liquidity will now get grabbed. Now, it's not to say that we get all this price action basically every week, but you can capitalize from understanding these models or ideas from a week-to-week basis, right? So another thing to understand is that, again, the market moves in what? The market moves in terms of structure and substructure. So we have a bigger time frame trend and we have a smaller time frame trend, right? But this smaller time frame trend right here is going to be your substructure. And again, it's not to say that you can't capitalize on this. You have to understand that your high probability is going to be your bigger time frame trend. But again, you could always catch that substructure if you really understand what price is doing. So this is exactly what I caught today. I caught substructure for both EU and S&P. We're going to go ahead and just kind of analyze what it is that I saw and what it is that we covered. So if you guys are not on the free Telegram, make sure that you guys join, because we did cover that as well here, right? We kind of explained how we saw price come back down to this area and then come back up to test this level. So this was our substructure going into a bigger time frame structure up here, and then it should drop down lower. We can see how that actually played out, right? It dropped down here, went up higher, and then price dropped down lower. So let's go over actually what happened today and what I saw yesterday leading into this Monday, this PA and the trade that we actually caught with our students, right? So again, understanding first comes down to what is the substructure point here. So if we look at structure here, what do we have? We have a lower high point here that led to this lower low, right? This is our overall trend. So anything that happens between these levels is going to be called a complex pullback. So it doesn't really matter, right? What happens between these levels, this is going to be a complex pullback. And we have to understand that we're still in a bearish trend from this high to this low. And what do we have here? Well, if we go ahead and just fix this or tweak this, you also know that from this high to this low, we are at a premium and we are this gonna go, right? So we can fix that up right here. We can just move this to the side like this. And let's go ahead and just delete this price action so it's not too choppy. We can see that again, from this high right here to this low, we have a premium. And then from the low here, we have a discount. So anything above here, we should be looking to sell. And we want to be looking, okay, where's the context here for us to really be looking to sell? And if you look right here to the left, what do we have right there? We have a nice and easy FPG that you can spot on 915. So that was already set towards our POI to be looking for sales when price reaches that area, right? So we have to expect that this is, again, going to be our overall structure. And anything that happens between those levels is going to be our substructure. So what do we also see here now in our substructure? We see that price here is making smaller time from lower high points lead to lower lows. Lower high points, lower lows, lower high points, lower lows. But what do we have here? Here we have a BOS in our substructure. So look at how price here has our first BOS. Now, what led to this BOS here? Well, what led to this BOS here was this low point. So this is going to be now our demand level right here. We could be expecting price, if it comes back down to a level, to be respected, right? And that's exactly what I saw. And if you're also looking at price here, right, from a perspective of what price is doing here, well, what do you have in your left, right? What do you have here? You can see how price here is actually making that three drives pattern. So we're mixing ICT with S&D, right? We have our demand levels and we have our supply levels up here that we're expecting price to get respected from, right? So we can mark that off as well, so we can understand that we have also a supply level up here that we can expect it to come back up towards, right? This again, from this high to this low is going to be our supply and our demand. And we can see how this is clearly demand. Why? Because we broke out of structure right there. And we're also making that famous three drives pattern, right? So we have one drive here, we have two drives here, and we have a third drive right here, okay? So what does price do? It comes back down to grab our last drive, or to grab that liquidity level that was resting below, right? We can see how price was resting below, and it came back to test that level of what? That level of demand, right? We test that level of demand, and then what do we do here again? We have yet another break of structure or change of character, right? Why it's generated? Because we had this lower high point that was lower low, then it had this push up higher. So right here, you could consider this a change of character, right? And again, we can just erase this for now. Now, what I was focused on, again, is price now. If we erase all of this, is coming back up to test that level within our minor structure, because what I was focused on here was price coming back up to, again, take this level of supply. And if we go back here again, you can see how price, we already had this outlet, price going to come down here and take that imbalance above, and it did just that. So the trade that we took today, right, we looked at this and we now dropped down to the M1. If you drop down here to the M1 and you start looking at what structure is giving you, again, what do you guys see here? Price drops down here. It obviously has liquidity levels here. So now we have our minor structure, right? So we have our minor structure here. We have liquidity that gets grabbed, drops on lower. And then from here, we now have demand levels being respected. Why? Because here you can see we have the supply right there. We break out of that. So we have a BOS, and we have, again, this demand levels that are not being respected. And then what does price do again? Goes up higher, right? So it now retests this imbalance down here. So it gets this imbalance down here. I guess I can mark it up right there. Right, just continue going on with price and understand what price is doing. After it grabs an imbalance, what does it do? It mitigates this M1 OB, right? After it mitigates the M1 OB, what does it do? It keeps on going with that M1 OB, and it mitigates this one as well, right? It kind of grabs the liquidity a bit higher, but it continues on going with the trend. So you're making this M1 level, showing you that now demand is basically being respected, with minor structure trying to go back up to what? Trying to go back up to test our POI up top. So what I saw here in the morning, right? What did we see here in the morning? What price did here again? We have price going up higher here, that again drops down lower, and now has this higher high. So we just zoom back to M15 here, and we can kind of see what price is doing here, right? What do we see here? Again, look at how price here is testing this level of demand and is basically making now higher low points within this substructure. And what do you have here? You have a FVG. So let's go back to the M1, right? Let's go back to M1 and let's look at what price is doing here. So price here drops on lower here, and it has a liquidity run. But what led to this liquidity run? If you guys zoom out, what I saw here was this. We had a liquidity run down here, and here we have a flip. Why? Because this last up close candle has grabbed the liquidity down here. So this is a valid level of supply. But once we break that, right? Once we break this level of supply, this now becomes a flip zone where we can now be expecting it to become a buying pool for buyers, right? So this is all happening within our minor structure. So again, what do we have here? We have our bigger time structure, which we're expected to come back up to this POI. We have our substructure, which is our M15 levels that are being broken with this change of characters. And then we have our minor structure, which is what's happening on the M1. We're following through, right? So what do you see happens next here, right? Or what did I see happening here? I saw this flip, and then I saw this low point that grabbed liquidity that led to its high. So that's our first level of demand being respected. And then I saw a model happening. So once I saw a model happening, I was happy enough to take this trade. I saw price giving this FBG with a new level of demand. All I was expecting was price to come back down to this level, and we had our entry and our stop loss below that. And you can see clear as day how you obviously have equal lows here. So basically already forming us the liquidity levels that are expected to get grabbed heading forward. And all I did for this day was take my longs here, 50%, stops below, right there, and target the highs right here. And you can see how price here, again, that gives your model higher low point, higher high within our minor structure, right there, higher low point, higher high, equal lows liquidity, triggers you in, and then goes back up higher, literally straight to TP. And this is what you should be getting when you're trading SMC, right? Price should not hang around in your entry levels. And why is that? Because if it does, then that's giving opportunity for traders to come in. And if it gives opportunity for traders to come in, what does that mean? That means that we are building liquidity. And we don't want that. This was the liquidity that people were trying to trade in. They put their stops under it, they got stopped out. Weak as mysterious get triggered in, and we hit TP all the way back up to test now our higher time frame POI, understanding again the overall perspective of bigger time frame structure, substructure, and now minor structure on our M1. And then we just continue going forward here, right? You can see that now price starts respecting what? It starts respecting levels of supply. So when you start seeing that, you are able to capitalize from that level. Why? Because again, what is price doing here? Respecting now levels of supply. You can start seeing how we hit that bigger time frame structure. And now should these levels of demand be respected? They shouldn't, right? Why? Because we already hit our bigger time frame POI. So now what we're looking for is an entry model here. But again, I already took 2 trades in a day, so I wasn't looking to capitalize from that. But let's say I was looking to capitalize from that. All I would have done is be looking at this. You know, once we have that third mitigation, I would have been content taking a trade here. And it would have been something like this, right? Like the highs get respected, and then take the lows all the way down here to our demand levels below. And let's see that would actually play out here. And it would have actually played out perfectly, right? You can see how, again, we're just respecting levels of supply now, and prices come back down to test our level of last demand that is clearly resetting below down there, right? So that is basically the idea of understanding minor time frame structure or higher time frame structure with substructure and then minor time frame structure. So I hope you guys understood a bit about this video, and I hope you guys kind of are content with that. I mean, it wasn't really that hard to explain, but again, look at this. Even there, you have enough context, right? You have your model, you do something built, FBG, entry, and then price just completely drops from that. Again, another model being built, OB, imbalance, equal lows, kind of a corrective, and then drops onto TP. So I mean, it gets easier. Again, I'm showing you guys a bit about how I see the market and how you guys can kind of understand it from a bigger scope of how the market actually moves. So I hope you guys get a bit from this video. Don't overtrade, don't leverage. Safe trading, guys. Peace, peace.